Good evening, everyone. So I welcome you one last time to the last day of our 7-day online workshop on scientific editing with LaTeX. So till now, we have given the idea of how to prepare a scientific document using LaTeX. So in today's session, today is the last tutorial session. You will be trained on how to make beautiful presentation using LaTeX class Beamer. And our today's resource person is Mr. Anshuman Borua. He is a senior research fellow of our department. So he will be training you on how to make presentation using Beamer. So try to gather as much as you can from his session today. So with this, I would invite our resource person, Mr. Anshuman Borua, to take over the platform.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anshuman, and I thank Gulabsha for the introduction, and I would like to welcome you all on the last day of this 7-day online workshop on scientific editing with LaTeX. I will be your last, but hopefully not the least good of all the speakers. And until now, you have learned most of the basic stuff on how to create a document, how to write mathematics, how to include graphics. Most of the preliminary things have been covered. So I'm going to extend whatever you have learned until today, until yesterday actually, and we are going to apply it to create beautiful presentations in Beamer. So without any further ado, let us start with the demonstration. And mind you, I have not prepared any particular presentation for you guys because most of the commands and whatever packages that we will be using today you have already learned in the previous classes. So we will start straight away with the demonstration, and then I'm hoping one of you guys will volunteer and we can start the hands-on session immediately. So let us start. I hope my screen is visible. Yeah, fine, it is. So everyone is familiar with the Overleaf interface as of now. So we'll straight away start with a new project, and these labels that you are seeing, in case you have very, very large projects, too many number of projects, and you need to organize, you can very nicely put something in labels. Say, for example, I can select this, and I can add to a label. Say I have already created a label called paper, so I don't have to keep on fumbling around projects. I can straightforward go to this folder, and I can find it. Similarly, I have another label for conference presentations. So this is just a quick tip for you guys. So let us straight away start with a new project. So as with any kind of document or paper or whatever it is that you want to write, what we can do is we can straightforward choose any of the templates, existing templates, right? So if I go on and click presentation here, I will be provided with a list of templates. So you can choose any one of these templates and you can customize them according to your needs. So there are lots of different templates that you can use. But since we are starting from the very basics, let us not use a template. Let us start from the very, very beginning. And I'll walk you through all the steps of creating a beautiful looking presentation in LaTeX. So I'll start with a blank project. Let us call this Beamer demonstration. Okay, so all this while we have been working with the article class. So this basically gives you an article with any kind of paper setting and whatever additional parameters that you can put on. Here we will be concerned today with the Beamer document class. So this Beamer document class is the equivalent of PowerPoint in the LaTeX environment basically. So if I try to compile this, let us see what we get. Fine. So you see that my A4 page or whatever page was set up, this has changed to something that resembles a PowerPoint slide, more or less, although it is very, very boring as of now. We're going to make this better as we go on. Before moving to the other parts, let us try giving some options. So you guys might remember from the previous classes that the square brackets are used to give options to different commands inside of the LaTeX environment. So this presentation, it looks somewhat different than what you are used to seeing on a PowerPoint presentation, right? Because PowerPoint presentations usually, they have a smaller height but a greater length than what you're seeing there. So this is what is encoded in what is known as the aspect ratio. Those of you who are actively streaming videos on YouTube and movies on Netflix are quite familiar with this. So let us try writing 43 first. Nothing has particularly changed, right? So this 43 basically tells you that the aspect ratio is 4:3 or 4:3. Either way to say that is correct. And that is the default aspect ratio that Beamer uses. So if we want to make this more presentable on a widescreen monitor or on mobile devices or something like that, what we can do is we can use the standard 16 by 9 format. And if I compile it now, you see we have a slide that more or less resembles a PowerPoint slide, right? So this is how you change aspect ratios inside of a Beamer presentation. Meaning, this is how you change the sizes of your slides. So let us try working with the basic aspect ratio that was already there, because I personally like this better. And let us try and give one more option. So this particular option will be called DVIPS names. So DVIPS names has something to do with the color. In place of DVIPS, I can write SVG names as well. So what these commands basically do is that they let you use different kinds of colors inside of the environment. If you do not provide a command that looks like this, LaTeX will not understand. If you try and input colors in some places and if you just give the color names, LaTeX is not able to identify them. Okay, so Overleaf has already provided us with the GraphicX package, which is useful. We will be using it. And as in the case of general LaTeX documents that you guys have been working with, we can start by straight away making a title page, right? So, but before we make a title page, we already have a title page. Let us just skip to it. How do I start with a slide? Okay. Just as in the case of a PowerPoint presentation, you just click on a new slide and a new slide appears inside of the LaTeX Beamer environment. You guys already know that in LaTeX, whenever we are beginning something, we have to end it. These particular delimiters are called environments, and we can place anything in between the environments. This begin frame and end frame tells the LaTeX compiler that I'm trying to create a frame which is actually a slide. In the PowerPoint language, we call it a slide, and in the Beamer language, we call it a frame. So in the second curly braces that you have, I can write the frame title as is indicative by whatever is already provided there. So let's try and write introduction. Let's try to compile. So now we have a new slide, and the title of the slide is introduction, right? So we can write anything here. This is going to compile just like in a normal LaTeX document, right? This is going to compile just like in the article class. So if I hit compile now, so this text has appeared here. So if I keep on writing now, if I copy this a bunch of times, we said that the text is aligned automatically. I can even include paragraph breaks the same way I do with normal LaTeX article class documents. And so we have a paragraph break. And we can just keep on copying this numerous number of times and our slide will be filled. But as you know, it is not a very, very good thing to, fill our slide with information. We don't need to write big sentences. What we need is we need bullet points, right? So we all know how to insert bullets in PowerPoint. How you insert bullets inside of the Beamer environment is basically the same as what you would do with the article class. So what we will use is begin itemize. So itemize will basically start creating bullet points, and each item value that I enter will create any number of items or any number of bullets that you want. So let us try and write something here. So if I try and hit compile now, you see that we have a very, very nice item environment created. So what I can do is that I can create sub-environments as well. Sometimes you need nested itemized environments, or what we refer to in the Microsoft language as, nested bullet environments. So let us try and put nested bullets inside of an already existing itemized environment. So if I put another itemize here, so this becomes a nested bullet. So if you have some title and you want to put some subtitle or some information against a particular bullet point, you can use this. So now if I get out of this particular itemized environment and I start writing another item, you will see that this third item, since I have put this after this nested and itemized environment, it is being compiled as an additional item. So one more thing that you might be noticing is that I'm using tab stops. By tab stops, I mean if I'm say at the beginning of a line and if I hit tab, as in the case of many Microsoft programs, I can get several spacings at once. So this is, those of you who are familiar with programming already know why we use these environments. Although Overleaf and LaTeX does not experience problems if you are not using tab and tab stops to write your code, it is a very good idea or a very good practice to use tabs, because once you have a very, very big document with hundreds and thousands of lines of commands, it becomes very, very easy to identify whatever it is that you're writing. So it is very, very advisable to use the tab stops to, organize your commands. Okay, so this is how we basically create bullet points inside of a Beamer presentation. So now if I want to add another frame, I have to exit out of this end frame environment, and then I have to write begin frame again. So if I hit compile now, you see we have the third slide now. The first was our title slide. The second was our introductory slide, and the third slide has appeared. So in this slide, I would like to introduce you to something called the block environment. So why do we need blocks, right? So I want to present some information. And I want to highlight something important. Let's try and compile first. Okay. So, yeah. So say, for example, I have presented something, I am working on my project, and I have presented some important theorem or some important mathematical expression, and I want to highlight it. So there are several ways to do it. The most basic way to do this is to use the block environment. So let us try and compile first and see, and then I will explain to you what this environment is doing. So this is a block is highlighting that something important is being displayed, and this is something important should have been highlighted, but this whole presentation is very, very boring. And before we go on in details on highlighting this particular environment properly, let me tell you about themes. So now again, I'll be working in the document preamble and not the main body. So themes are different kind of ways of creating a presentation. So what you can do is that, let me just try and use a default theme first. It looks very beautiful now, right? So themes in Beamer, what they do is that they change the outlook, the entire visual appearance of the presentation that you're preparing. So now you see we have a very, very nice presentation with the title highlighted, with the author in the same place. And we have some additional information that is coming down in this block that you see below the first slide. So here we have the author name presented, and here we have the title presented, and here we have the date presented, right? So now if I come back to my block environment, this highlighted portion of the code is representing whatever you're seeing in the last part of the slide here. So this is how you use the block environment to highlight something important inside of a LaTeX slide or inside of a Beamer frame, basically. So you have to keep in mind, if I just write, let's try and do this again. So Overleaf does something very, very helpful, but sometimes very, very annoying as well. Why I say it's annoying, let me just give you an example. So if I write begin block, Overleaf immediately puts an end block after it, right? So let us try writing this again. Let's try and compile. So see, there is an annoying T that is, the T from the this has gone up, right? So this is basically an error. So Overleaf will complete the end block for you whenever you put begin block, but it will not put the correct syntax of the block environment. The correct syntax is that you have to place another curly bracket and you have to write the block title inside of the second set of curly braces. Otherwise, you'll get something erroneous that's presented in the third slide. Okay, fine. So now we have a properly set block, highlighted block. So this is a very important lesson for you in the sense that do not rely on overly for, in case you are working in Python or Java or any other language, do not rely on your editor to complete your commands for you. You should basically learn the proper syntax of the commands, right? So, okay, let us go back to themes. So it's a very funny thing that all of these different themes inside of LaTeX or inside of Beamer, they're named after famous cities, right? So Madrid is a name you are all familiar with. So let's try another city name. And let's try to compile. So now if you look at it carefully, the appearance of the slides or the frames have changed, right? They look more or less alike, but they have changed quite a bit, right? So you can browse through numerous number of Beamer themes that are available. Let me just show you a list of all of the Beamer themes that you can get. So anytime you start, see, when I started with my presentation, I did not have this command included, right? So the default theme was working. This is the default. And these are the names of different famous cities based on which all of the themes are based, right? So let's say, for example, try the Ann Arbor theme and see what happens. This is another very, very bright and beautiful theme to use inside of your LaTeX presentations. By the way, if my fonts are not visible, let me see if I have set the correct. Okay, so I'm at 16px. Hopefully my fonts are visible clearly to you. So now I can customize these colors, customize the colors inside of this theme. So whenever I write the name of any theme inside of the use theme command, so it is going to use the default commands, default colors that are available for this particular theme, right? Here in this example, you see that for the Ann Arbor theme, the default color is blue and yellow. If I go back to the Madrid example, you will see that the default color is different shades of blue. So what I can do is that I can take a particular theme. Say, for example, let's get back to Ann Arbor. I can take a particular theme and I can customize it further. To customize it further, I will use a command called use color theme, right? Okay. So what are the color options that we can use? So there are different combinations of themes and colors that you can use. Let us try with the first option. So if I use the default, it's not going to do anything. See, I have recompiled the document, but it has not done anything, right? So default is no use. You can customize this further. Instead of using default, let us see what are the other options that we have, right? So here, let us try something new. Okay, one more important thing that I wanted to tell you before I go on to explain the default color themes. So you see, whenever I'm compiling, I'm getting something that is coming below every slide. I don't know if this is properly visible to you. If you look at the right corner of every slide, I am getting different kinds of buttons. So these are navigation buttons. So whenever I have downloaded this as a PDF and whenever I'm trying to present, instead of using the keyboard, I can just point my mouse and I can click to any of these to set my navigation. I can go to the next slide. I can go to the previous slide. These are interactive buttons that Beamer generates automatically. But sometimes you might not want to use this. Sometimes this might be annoying or sometimes it might be a personal choice as well. So we can remove this. So to remove or to modify whatever is inside of the Beamer default templates, there is one very useful command that we can use, which is simply set Beamer template. So this set Beamer template command basically alters whatever is the default options inside of Beamer are. And inside of the first bracket, we are going to specify what is the kind of change that we want, right? So these little things on the right corner of the screen are called navigation symbols. So let us write that. And then the proper syntax is I need to give another bracket, and I could have given any other option here, but I don't know any particular use for the navigation symbols. So if I just put a second set of curly braces and leave it empty, and if I recompile, we see that this has disappeared, right? Let me demonstrate this for you again. See, on the bottom right of every slide, we have the navigation pane that is appearing again. And if I uncomment this line, this has disappeared, right? So another useful customization that you can give to LaTeX is you can write use font theme. And say I'm trying to use professional fonts. Let's try and compile. So, okay, so we do not see any change here, right? So what this command use font theme tells is that whatever theme that we are using Ann Arbor, any kind of theme that you use, Beamer is always going to compile your project using this default font that it has. I don't know what exactly this font is called, but it resembles the Calibri font family from Microsoft, I guess. So this command is doing nothing now. It is just telling Beamer that I want to customize my font later. So let's try to customize the font. There is some syntax error here. Okay, we have not used the fonts package. We'll get back to that. So we need to use a separate fonts package for that. We'll get back to that when we come to customizing the fonts. So our title page is looking kind of boring, right? Let us try to customize our title page first. But before that, since I'll not be coming back to the preamble again, and we will be using math, let us use this packages. Okay. So if you remember from the previous classes, if you want to compile good-looking fonts inside of the LaTeX environment, you need the American Mathematical Society's AMS Math and AMS Symbols package. And for the time being, let us use the HyperRef package. So I don't know if this was taught before. So what this HyperRef package does is HyperRef stands for hyperreferencing. So whenever I use the HyperRef package, if I have used any kind of citation inside of the document, say citation to a previous slide, to a particular figure, or to some reference that I'm going to have in my bibliography. So what it will do is that it will make these links inside of the PDF clickable. We'll get to that. And for the time being, I don't think we need any additional fonts. Let us try to customize the title page. So what are the things that you can need inside of your title page, right? So you have the author. Addition to the author, what you might need sometimes is you might need the institution, right? So let us try and give LaTeX an instruction to show our institution. Let us see if it compiles. So now we have a very, very fine looking Assam University that is coming up. I can put the entire address here as well. So I can put paragraph breaks inside of this institute environment the same way I can do inside of a general text environment. So I can, by the way, remove this set of delimiters or modifiers and I can compile as well. But let me show you the advantage of using it. So see, look at the bottom left corner of this slide. I don't know if this is going to get highlighted. So if I have used the Institute Assam University Silchar and Anshuman Barua my name, so this Ann Arbor theme by default, it places the name of the author and the institute together in the bracket. And you see that since my text has become too long, it cannot be accommodated inside of this particular blue area that is designated for it, right? So whenever I use the smaller square brackets, and if I say give the abbreviated name of our institution, then Beamer will understand that I have to use this shorter abbreviated name whenever the space is less. So now we have Anshuman Borua AUS, and this looks fine enough, right? This looks fine enough. And additional things that you can include inside of the title page is that you might need a logo, right? So let me try to find the logo for you. Okay, so we have a nice PNG file for the Assam University logo. Let me just make this quick. I'll paste the default command that I always keep on using. Now we have a very fine looking Assam University logo. So you might all be familiar with the include graphics command until now because this has been taught before. So whenever you want to specify to Beamer that this is the title graphic, meaning it should appear in the title page, so I have to use this / title graphic command. And after that, inside of this set of curly brackets, it is quite straightforward. You can include the graphics in the same way. This is something that I have used as an optional beautification. We can remove it. Yeah, and even then we have a very nice center align Assam University logo, right? So I think these are the particular elements that are really necessary for the title page of a Beamer presentation. Say, for example, if you are presenting for a particular seminar, for a particular conference, or say if you are presenting for your MSc dissertations, you can use another environment which is called the meeting environment, and then another additional information of where or what you're presenting can be included here. But for now, let us skip to that. And by the way, if you want to include additional logos in addition to this Assam University logo that is here, I can use another title graphic environment. I can include another logo, and these will be compiled side by side. Generally, we use one logo, and it is fine. So okay, fine. So if I now download this presentation, let me. Okay, I have to share an additional screen, so I'll not get into that. But say, for example, if I had downloaded this presentation and if I had tried to present, what would happen is that all of these things, they do not look like a presentation because all of these things would arrive at the same time. So what we do with PowerPoint is that sometimes we use animations, right? Sometimes we use animations so that the item number 1 appears first, then the item number 2 appears next, and so on and so forth. So it is not very straightforward to animate Beamer slides in the same intuitive manner as you do for Microsoft PowerPoint. But there are a few ways to do that. There are 2 simple ways to do that we will get into basically. The first one is a default command that we can use. Say, for example, I want item 1 to appear first, then I want nothing appearing below. Then I can simply put a / pause command. So if I compile it now, you see that I have the first slide where there is only item 1. And then in the second slide, all of these other items are appearing all at once, right? Let us try to break all of these. I want pauses after every item. Let us recompile. So see, I have one slide where there is just item 1. I have an additional slide where there is item 1 and item 2 both. And then I have the final slide that has item 3. So now you might be wondering, why are there 3 slides, right? Because all of these things are written inside of a begin frame and end frame environment. All of these has been written inside of just one frame. But this is how animations work in LaTeX basically. If you download this presentation PDF, and if you go to full screen view, it will appear. I'll demonstrate it later after I finish my talk. So it will appear as if this has been animated in the same manner as in the case of PowerPoint. So there's another less intuitive way, but many people prefer using it. There's a second way of animating Beamer slides. Let us try that as well. I'm going to remove all of the pause commands. Okay. So the second way to do it is to basically write it inside of the itemized environment itself. So first I will use angle brackets and I will write 1 minus. Let me try and compile and see what happens. Let me give some more commands to LaTeX first. So if you check now, I am getting the same results as using the pause environment, right? So before I had put a pause after item 1 and I had put another pause after item number 2. But now what I'm doing is, instead of writing pause, I'm just delimiting or I'm just modifying the item command. So this is essentially the same as doing the pause wala thing. This is exactly the same thing. Some people prefer doing it this way. This is an older way to do it. And the more recent or the more convenient way to do it is to write pause, right? Instead of writing 1, 2, 3, these modifiers are telling LaTeX that there will be, inside of this one particular frame, there will be 3 slides, 1, 2, and 3. On the first slide, I will have just item number 1 displayed, as shown here. On the second slide, I will have just item number 2 displayed with item number 1, and then finally I will have all of the 3 things together. So this is an older way to do it, but I personally feel the more intuitive way to do it is basically to just use the pause commands, right? So this is much, much easier than, because once you have too many bullet points, you have to keep on writing as many number of bullet points that you want inside of that environment itself, right? There is another very, very interesting way to present these, right? So let us go back to the document preamble and let us try writing another command. Hopefully I got the syntax right. So the command is set beamer covered and the modifier is transparent. Let us see what this does, okay? Let me compile. Okay, so this looks more beautiful, right? So now item 1 is being displayed on the first slide, but the remaining 2 items that will be displayed later are basically blurred out. That means you already know what to expect next, although item 1 is highlighted because I'm discussing item 1 right now. And when I move to slide 2, the item 2, that is nested bullets, this will be again this will be highlighted instead of being transparent like in the previous slide. And then item number 3 is this time blurred. And when I finally reach the third slide, what will happen is that all of these things will get displayed. So this is a very, very nice way to customize the itemize and animation environments inside of LaTeX. And yeah, there are some other fun modifications you can do as well. Say, for example, I have written something about item 1, and when I click the next slide when I'm presenting, I want some information on item 1 to appear, right? Whenever I click the second, whenever I move from item 1 to item 2, I want something additional information to appear about item 1, but I want that to appear only on the second slide. That means when I move from this slide to the next, this item will disappear. Let me show you with an example instead of confusing you right now. So what I will do is that I will use the \only command, right? So I can use only 2, and then I can write let us try and compile. I'm hoping we should get an error. Let us see what happens. Okay, we're not getting an error. That is good. So see, let us uncover this again. Recompile. Okay. So I told you already before compiling that we should get some sort of an error, right? So what you're seeing is that something about item number 2 is appearing as soon as I am hitting the next slide, but this time item 3 is also appearing here because LaTeX is not understanding what I am meaning by this number 2 here. Do you know why? This is because we have, instead of using this curly bracket, the second way to use animations, instead of that we have used the pause environment. Let us try to correct this. So these things are not really necessary, but if you want to beautify your presentation, because otherwise there is a general notion that Beamer presentations are comparatively boring than PowerPoint. These are just a few tricks to make your presentations more interesting. Let's try and compile again. And there is another syntax error. The syntax error is that I have to put this inside of braces, which I had not noticed. Sorry about that. Okay. So this time I have item number 1, and whenever item number 2 will come, that is nested bullets, something about bullet number 2 will appear only on the second slide. See, this is something about bullet number 2. But then again, when I go to item number 3, this has magically disappeared. So this is a very interesting way of customizing your presentations to look more beautiful and professional, right? So I can do the same thing. So say, for example, if I write 3 instead, something about bullet number 3, and if I try to compile now, we have item number 1. When I click next, immediately item number 2 will appear. But when I click next again, something about bullet number 3 is being highlighted, right? So say, for example, if I had an additional bullet here, let us compile again. So when I go to the next slide after item number 3, this particular line should disappear. So, okay, this is the third slide of the second frame where we have something about bullet number 3 written here. And then when I go to item number 4, this thing has magically disappeared, right? So yeah, this is the very, very interesting way to customize your animations inside of the itemized environment. And this can work with the enumerate environment as well. I am hoping that somebody has explained the enumerate environment. If not, let me just refresh it for you. Let us write another frame, and let's put the frame title. Just compile. So this is the enumerate environment, right? So what the enumerate environment does in contrast to the itemized environment is that the itemized environment presents you with unnumbered bullets. These little dots and circles that are coming, these are bullet points, and this can be modified, although it is not necessary to modify them all the time. What the enumerate environment does is that it instead puts the whatever points you're putting, whatever items you're putting inside of numbered environments. So what are additional elements that we usually need in an academic presentation? So we need a table of contents, right? So to put a table of contents slide, it is we'll talk about the slide later, but to put a table of contents, I can basically use the same section and subsection environment that we have been taught to use inside of the article environment, right? So this particular introduction slide should come under the section and introduction, right? Let us try and put that section introduction. So this second slide comes something, let us give this a name. Let us put another section. Okay, let us try and compile now and see what happens. So nothing particularly interesting has happened, right? So why have I put these sections? I have put these sections because I need a table of contents slide. So after the title slide, I need immediately a table of contents slide, right? So let us begin a new frame. Who remembers the command? Surprise, it's just table of contents, right? If only programming were that simple. Okay, let us try and see what happens now. So now we have a nice table of contents, and all of these things are generated automatically. And now, see, whenever I'm putting my mouse over these section names, these have become clickable. And this has become clickable because we have used the hyperref package. Whenever I'm using the hyperref package, any links inside of my document will become clickable, right? So I can straight away click on some animations and it moves to this some animation solo slide, right? But this thing works with subsection environments as well, right? Say, for example, I had a subsection. Just try to compile this thing again. Okay, so we have an additional slide that is coming from this particular. Okay, why do I have section introduction here again? So if I go back to my table of contents now, I will see that this third section list has an unnumbered subsection that is called more lists, right? So this is the same. This is a very interesting outcome of LaTeX is that it generates the table of contents and list of figures, anything that you need all by itself, right? So what is another additional thing that we need while making presentations, right? We need to do referencing, right? So I think yesterday's class was on referencing, and Bhaskar took a very nice class, although I was unable to attend yesterday due to some personal limitations. Let us try to create a bibliography file. So I will create a new file, and I will call it mybib.bib. So if you remember from yesterday's class, .bib extension is the bibliography file, where I will put all of my bibliographic information. And let us look for a paper. Let us look for any random paper. Okay, so if I want to cite this, since I am using BibTeX, what I can do is I can simply click Cite on Google Scholar, and I can export this citation in BibTeX format. I can copy this entire thing. I will go to my bibliography file, and I will place this. Let me change the citation key. Okay. So in order to include citations with BibTeX, we need to use the bib.latex environment, right? And then we need to tell LaTeX where my bib file is located. So use package bib.latex tells LaTeX that I am going to use bib.latex environment to create my citations. And bibliography mybib tells LaTeX that this mybib file contains all my references. So let us try and add another frame. Just try and compile. So here we have a reference, right? This reference is clickable, but if I click it goes to nothing because we have not printed our bibliography yet, right? So we want the last slide to include our papers, to include our references. So what I can do is that I can create another frame. And I can just simply use print bibliography command. Let us try and compile. So now we have a citation that is being generated. And then we have in the references in a new slide that creates my entire bibliographic information, right? So I can have any number of papers here. So if I even had 15 papers, don't worry about it. Just use one begin frame and end frame environment and simply use the print bibliography command. And all of your references will be generated in subsequent slides, as many number as you have. But what happens sometimes is that in professional presentations or in scientific presentations, say for example, when you are presenting your master's degree dissertations, it becomes necessary to include the citation inside of the frame itself, right? Because in the end, when you have so many citations and so many references, it becomes clumsy to keep on, showing everyone, okay, this is the first slide of my references, this is the second slide, and so on and so forth. So there's another interesting way we can present references in a nice looking manner inside of our Beamer slides. So this is referencing with footnotes, right? So this time I'll write the same thing. I'll write black holes are fun, and then we'll give a footnote to this. So I don't know if the footnote environment must stop, but one downside of this is that whenever you're using footnotes let me first demonstrate for you what happens when I use a footnote. So black holes are fun. Here is the numbering of the footnote. Then inside of this particular slide where this line is present, a footnote area, a footer area will be created, and whatever reference you're typing here will be output here. But one downside of using this is that you cannot use the advantages of using the BibLaTeX environment. What I have to do is I have to manually, copy the entire paper reference in whatever style I need, and then I need to place this here. I have pasted it, and let's try and compile again. See, now the entire paper is coming up, right? The entire bibliographic reference is coming out. So what happens is that sometimes when you have too much font here, let me use the Lipsum package. Let me try to include some more text here. Okay, so now we have a very, very big paragraph that is filling up the entire slide. Mind you, these are all dummy text. It doesn't make any sense. This is Latin. This Lipsum package is used to generate dummy text inside of the LaTeX environment. So now what happens is that, say for example, if I had another reference that I wanted to present somewhere in between, right? So say for example, here itself I need another paper. I will add another line basically. And let's try and put a footnote. Let's try to find another paper. Let's try and copy this entire thing. Let's place it in the footnote. Let us compile and see what happens. See, now it looks horrible, right? Because I had all of this huge amount of text present in the slide, and additionally I have these two big references in the footnote that LaTeX is trying to push, and it is not able to accommodate inside of the slide. So you see that this footer area is almost overlapping, and if I keep on adding more references, this will keep on going upwards and my text will be interrupted in between. So what I can do is that I can change the size of the footnotes, right? I can write tiny, can enclose this instead of braces. Let us do the same thing here. Let us compile. See, now we have a very beautiful looking reference inside of the footnotes where the font has become much, much smaller, right? So in case this has not been taught before, we can, inside of LaTeX, use this small environment. We can use this tiny environment. We can use this large environment, and we can use this large environment as well. So all of these, if I write anything after this, it will compile my font in different sizes. This is the largest that it can possibly accommodate on the page. This is a little bit larger than the standard. This is a little bit smaller than the standard font size that you have selected already in your preamble. And this gives you the smallest possible font size, right? So if you are including references inside of the frame in which you are presenting, it is a good idea to not use too many references, because otherwise there is only so much of, tiny references or footnotes that you can put. Eventually it is going to cramp up your main text area, and you don't want that happening. So the main tip here is to that you can abbreviate author names, right? It will save you some space. You can abbreviate author names to save some space. Let's see what happens. Let's try and compile again. So this has saved a little bit of a space, but not much. So the best idea always is not to use too many references whenever you're using footnotes. So once you run out of space to put references in the footnotes, you can go back to using the standard bibLaTeX method, and then you can generate additional references at the end. So now, what about including images, right? So including images in Beamer is as straightforward as including images in any LaTeX document. So what I will do is that I will begin a figure, and well, LaTeX does a very nice job of, already completing the entire command for me. I hope by this time you have understood all of these commands. So I have only one image file as of now. So let us try to use our beautiful university's logo again. Let's put a caption. Let us label this as figure 1. Let us compile. Okay, this looks horrible, right? And another mistake that we have done is that we have placed this after the references, which is not a very nice thing to do. Let us take this entire command and let us put it before the references. Right? So now we have a very, very big logo, which is cumbersome. Let us try to reduce the size. Fine. Now we have a very beautiful logo, right? So what if I want to make this a bit more beautiful, right? So say, for example, I have a paragraph about the Assam University logo written down, and I want this logo to appear somewhere on the right? So meaning I want to wrap my image inside of the text itself so that it looks more beautiful, right? So the way to do it is to use an additional package which is called WrapFig. So this WrapFig basically allows LaTeX, or allows you to wrap text around the figures, right? Or wrap figures around text. It works both ways. Let's see how it works. So let us place some dummy text. Let us compile. Okay, so now we want the figure to appear somewhere inside of this text itself, right? So what I will do is that I will begin the wrap figure environment. Let me just go back and bring something that has already been done for you. Let us go back to projects. I will give you a nice example so that I don't have to keep on typing so much. Oh, one more interesting thing that I had missed actually. So if I go back to this figure, you see that this figure does not have any number, right? So by default, whenever you try to compile or include images inside of Beamer environments, you will always get this. So you will never get a figure that has been numbered. So to do this, you need to put this particular command. So as before, you have seen that we have again used this set Beamer template. What this command does is that it tells Beamer to modify its internal preferences. So here, as before, we had modified the navigation symbols. Here we have modified the caption, and the difference now is that we are wanting Beamer to understand that we want our captions to be numbered, right? Let us see what happens. So now we have a very nice looking figure that has been numbered, right? Give me just a minute break to drink some water. Okay. So these are most of the important points that you will need to address while making a Beamer presentation. So I think it is better if I leave one or two things for the hands-on session because I have been speaking for nearly an hour now. So I've covered most of the things that I was already wishing to cover. As you can see, we have created a very, very nice presentation. We have seen how to create bullets and nested bullet environments. We have seen how to generate the table of contents. We have learned two ways of including references. We have learned about highlighting with blocks. And we have learned about including figures, and most of the things have been covered. The two things that have been left was to include fonts customization and there is another thing that I started. Okay, figures with text wrapping. Let us try and address these in the hands-on session. So I will stop sharing my screen now, and I would request one of you guys to kindly step up and create a Beamer presentation with me. Okay. So any of the participants, kindly present your screen and I will help you out in creating your first Beamer presentation. Anyone?
Google Drive role.
Okay, David, yeah, thanks. Okay. So the first thing you need to do is you need to change your document class from article to Beamer, right? Fine. So we will be using the graphics package. Graphics package has already been included. And there were some additional things that we had shown you. So you can you can change the Beamer template to have your figures numbered. So we will start from the top up, right? When I was demonstrating it for you, when I was working and demonstrating for you, I was going up and down. But this time we'll do it serially. And let's see what happens. So write set Beamer template. Go to the next line, David, and write backslash set Beamer template. Set Beamer template, SET set. You have to write set first, then Beamer, David. This is Gutetu kata. You cut it down. You write backslash SET. Yeah, SETBEAMER. You do not need to put spaces. So whenever you're writing LaTeX commands, David, you do not need to put spaces in the commands. It's not going to work. Yeah, set Beamer template TEMPLATE. Okay, then inside of two curly brackets, you're supposed to write caption because we want our figures to be numbered, right? We don't want random figures appearing. Okay, inside of that, you need to write caption, CAPTION. Fine, then you need to get out of that bracket and then you need to put square brackets and then you need to write NUMBERED, numbered. NUMBERED, fine. Okay, then go to the next line. So I will demonstrate one more thing here that I had not addressed inside my own presentation. So we will use the multi-column environment. I did not show you how to create two columns inside of one slide. We will demonstrate it using David. So for that I will need to use the multi-call environment. So you include a package. How do you include a package, David? You write use package. It's being highlighted. Just hit enter. Okay. Then we'll write multi-call. multicol. Nice. Done. So go to the next line. And then we also wanted our figures and references to be clickable, so that sometimes in the middle of a presentation, sometimes somebody asks you, okay, go back to figure one. You don't need to use your mouse or your laser pointer to keep on scrolling back. You can directly click on something and go there. So for that, we will use the hyperref package. So you write use package hyperref, hyperref. Just hit enter, David, because later overleaf already completes the syntax for you. Okay, then you write hyperref, hyper inside of the bracket. Yes. Yeah, hit enter. Yeah, this is a faster way to do things, right? Okay, so did we include any other things in our demonstration? Do you remember? So we are going to include references, right? So for that, what package do you need? You need the bibliotex package, right? So include that package as well. Use package bibliotex / use package. No. It's use package bibliotex, Biblatek. So referencing is done using the bibliotex package. Yes. Okay, fine. So more or less, this is what we had used, right? Okay, fine. So now hit compile and let's see what happens. Try and hit compile again. Compile again, David. Let me see your screen. Can you please increase your font size a little bit, David? Go to the menu. Yeah, and increase your font size like we showed you. It's 18. Okay, it's fine. So I don't know where you went wrong. Everything looks good to me. Let me check your spelling. It's Beamer, Beamer. Try and compile again. Caption numbered. Use package multicall, hyper big latex. Okay, so you delete the multicall command. You delete that line. Try and compile now. Do you have this overleaf running in another tab? David? Hello? Hello? Am I still audible? Yeah, David, do you have overleaf opened in another tab? You not, right? Hello.
Hello, Anjuman.
Do you have
Hello?
do you have Overleaf running in another browser or another tab?
No, it's not running. Well, can you look at a serial number 13? Is it okay? Right, writing slash section, backslash section introduction.
No, that looks fine. Your entire code looks fine, but I can't figure out why is it not compiling. So can you go back home? Click that home icon. The home icon beside menu.
Okay.
Yeah, that one. Okay, go to Beamer demonstration again. Open your project again. Okay, let's see if this compiles this time. This is click on expand. Right side on the right of the PDF slot. Click on expand. Yeah. My God, I don't know what's wrong with your Overleaf. Okay, go back home. Let us create something new from scratch. Go back home. Yeah. Create a new project. Blank project. Give any name. Okay, so change the document class to Beamer. Bus compile. Okay, fine. I don't know what was wrong with your previous thing, but this time we will add packages as we need them. Okay, so now you have created your first Beamer slide, right? So the next thing that I told you about was to use a theme, right? Because your project looks very, very boring. So use any theme that you like. Oh, so after document class Beamer, use any theme, right? So how do you include the theme? You write backslash use theme. USETHEME. Yes. Put two curly brackets. Say, for example, I want to use the Madrid theme, MADRID, the first M being capital. Okay, hit compile again. Okay, so now you have a very nice looking theme, right? So change your name, David, it's not looking good. Change your first in letters to capital. The first D in David and the first D in Dairy, change that to capital. Okay, so you need to add your institution after this, right? So that in the title page, you get your institution as well. Or sometimes you might need to write your roll numbers and whatever it is that that is required at the time. So what I will write is that I will give backslash institute, INSTITUTE. So I'll put a square bracket and I will write the abbreviation first so that in the title bar below in the footnote it comes properly. Okay, put a square bracket, write AUS, and then put another set of curly brackets and then write the full affiliation. Put a curly bracket and then you write the entire affiliation. Assam University, Department of Physics, Assam University, anything that you want to write. Okay, hit compile again. Okay, so now you have do you have the Assam University logo downloaded with you, David, somewhere you can locate? Or any kind of small logo kind of a picture so that we can revisit how to include the title graphic? Keep your microphone on, David, preferably.
I don't have the logo now.
Okay, you don't have the logo. Do you have any picture that we can use as a logo?
Yeah.
Because we need something, right?
No, I don't have any such kind of means. I have not downloaded anything else.
Okay, so we'll just write down the command so that you remember. Yeah, go back, yeah. So we'll just write down the command and we'll comment it out. Otherwise, it will give errors, right? So if I wanted to include a logo, say for the university logo, or if you're going to a conference, you can include the conference logo. You can use anything like that. So how do we do that? In case you remember, and in case you don't, let me remind you again. I will put / title graphic, TITLEGRAPHIC. GRAPHIC, title graphic. And then I'll put 2 curly braces. Curly brackets, I mean. Yeah, and then inside of those 2 curly brackets, I'm going to insert an image just in the normal manner that I do for LaTeX documents. That means I'll write / include graphics.
Means in the inside the curly bracket.
Inside the curly brackets, yes. So this title graphic is an environment, and inside of this environment, we're going to include the figure.
/ title graphic.
No, we've already used title graphics, so this time we'll use include graphics. And CLUDEGRAPHICS, include graphics. Okay, hit enter. Yeah, the syntax is completed. So inside of the first bracket, we can specify the height and width and whatnot. Let us say we want a small logo of 2 centimeters. I will write width equal to cm without any spaces.
Equal to 3 cm.
Whatever you want, 2 cm, 3 cm, 2 cm usually looks good. Yeah. Okay, and then so see, whenever you have logos, they're usually square in shape, right? So if you specify the width, the height already gets specified. Even if the logo is rectangular, the aspect ratio is maintained. And in case the logo becomes distorted, you can simply put a comma, and you can write in after 2 cm, you can simply put a comma, and then you can write keep aspect ratio. So that way you can just specify the width and the height will automatically be adjusted. So that is not necessary now. We'll just stick with the height equal to 2 cm wala thing. And then inside of the next bracket, we are going to tell the file name, right? Say, for example, you have some image called logo.pdf or logo.png. Fine. So now unfortunately, our friend David does not have any photos in his computer, which is surprising. If we had a photo and if we compiled, then we would have gotten a nice little logo below the date. So try and hit compile. Let's see what kind of error comes out. There's always something to learn between errors, right?
Logo PNG.
Okay. So since we do not have a logo, logo.png is just coming up inside of a 2 centimeter by 2 centimeter box, right? So if we had a logo, then it would have come. Okay, fine. So now comment that out, right? Do you know how to comment out? Just go before title graphic and put a percentage symbol. So that command will be commented out. So you go to the / title graphic, and before the /, you just put a percentage sign. Line number 9.
Line number 9.
Yeah, title graphic जहाँ पे लिखा है, you just put a percentage sign there
Yes.
and then
Yes,
hit compile. So this percentage symbol is commenting out so that LaTeX will completely ignore that command. Okay, fine. So now we have a nice looking title page. And what do we need after a title page? We need a table of contents, right?
Yes.
So what we will do after, so what we will do after make title. So after make title, I will start a new frame or a new slide. So how do I make a new slide? I write begin frame, right? So I'll write / begin frame.
Begin. Okay. Begin frame.
Yeah, hit enter. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah, so frame title will be table of contents. Yeah. Just write TOC for short now. Okay, table of contents, you can write it down as well.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so now I will write /
Use package.
No, you never use package after the begin document environment. Use package is always used in the preamble before the begin document, right? So here we want to display the table of contents, right? So I will simply write / table of contents. Do not put any spaces. Do not put any spaces. Okay, so we already have a section. So if we hit compile now, we should see the first section coming up, right? So hit compile. The shortcut for compile is control and enter on your keyboard.
Okay, it has been compiled.
So fine, nice. Scroll below because I cannot see it. I mean, on the right side of the PDF here.
Okay.
Okay, so we do not have the introduction coming up. Can you tell me why? It is because we have not written anything inside of the section, right? So below the section introduction, if we set a new frame now, and if we write something there, it's going to show up.
Okay. What should I write?
Begin. You should start a new frame. So how do you begin a new frame? You write begin frame, right?
No. Begin.
Frame, yeah. Hit enter. So say the title is introduction, suppose.
Should I compile now?
So you can write something inside of the slide. So you can write this as the introduction. Okay, yeah. After that, you can compile. Okay, so see, since we have included a slide or included content after every section, it is coming up inside of the table of contents, right? So
Yes.
the next thing that we had learned was how to itemize and how to animate stuff. So let us start another frame. So see, you're making a mistake here. So you are beginning one frame inside of another frame, which is going to give you errors, right? So whenever I want to begin a new frame or a new slide, I have to go below the first end frame that was already there. So आपको नया फ्रेम अगर शुरू करना है तो ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग फ्रेम के अंदर ही आप बिगिन फ्रेम या कुछ भी लिखोगे तो एरर आ जाएगा ना. सो ये नीचे जो एंड डॉक्यूमेंट से पहले आपका एंड फ्रेम है उसके बाद आपको लिखना है बिगिन फ्रेम. Hit enter. Okay. Give any title, let's say itemizing. Itemising.
I didn't get you on someone.
Write items. ITEMS.
Is it okay?
Yeah, it's fine, it's fine. So now we will learn how to create bullet points inside of LaTeX, right? So now go inside the frame and then you write / begin itemize, and end itemize should appear automatically since we are working in overleaf. Begin itemize. Yeah, hit enter. Okay. Write anything, you can write item number 1 and then you can go to the next line, use / item and then write item number 2 and so on and so forth. No, you have to give a space and then write item 2 again. So / item is the command. So if you try and compile this, your second item will just come out as the number 2.
Okay. Means again I should write item 2.
Yeah. So in place of items, you will place your bullet points, right? So whenever you're writing anything related to any topic, you will place your bullet points after the / item environment command. So hit compile again.
It's coming.
Okay. So now if you remember, whenever we are trying to present this, we need to have some animation so that it looks nice, right? So David, you can write 2 more items. Just copy and paste this entire item 1, item 2 again. Copy this and then paste it in the next line.
I think both should be copied.
Sorry?
I think item 1
no, item 1 to whatever it is. It doesn't matter whatever is written there. I'm just trying to explain the concept for you. So just copy item 1, 2 and paste it 1 or 2 times, right? So that we have a number of bullet points instead of just 2. Yeah, copy this entire thing and then paste it. Yeah, fine, it's fine. So compile again. Okay, so we have 4 items. So now we need to animate this, right? So that whenever I'm presenting, one comes after the next and it looks like I have created a nice animation, right? So what I will do is that I will add a new line after item number 1 and then I will write / pause.
/ font.
Pause. 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 Play pause. Gana pause karo. PAUSE.
Oh.
Okay. So right. Yeah, that's fine. So put a / pause after every item now. And then we will download the PDF and we'll see how nicely it is presented. No. Item 2 रहने दो वहीं पे. Add a new line after item 2 and then paste the pause वाला thing. Yeah. कॉपी करके ले जाओ ना पॉज / पॉज पूरा कॉपी कर लो. Copy कर लो. Go to the next item, add a new line, write pause. Go to the next item, add a new. Oh, you don't need to write pause because there are no more items now. Fine. So hit compile once. Okay. Now download this slide. Download the entire presentation, and we'll try and see how this animation works, right?
You mean just have to download PDF?
Yeah. You have download the PDF. Yes. Okay. So you open that. Do not open it in your browser. You open it in your PDF reader. Open it in your Adobe Reader.
It is in the opening in Adobe Reader only.
No, it's opening in your browser. You go to your downloads folder, you right click and you open with Adobe Reader. You go to your downloads. Yeah, right click and you open with Adobe Reader. Okay, fine. So now go to full screen view. So you go to view. वो ऊपर जो व्यू वाला है ना, टूल्स के ऊपर एक व्यू लिखा हुआ है, उसमें जाओ.
जो view.
हाँ. Yeah, view and go to full screen mode. The shortcut is Control L. Okay. So this is how your presentation will look when you are presenting, right? So this is your first slide. Now as you keep on moving to the next slides, आप next slide जाते रहो David. Right? ये table of contents आ गया. Okay, next.
Introduction.
So introduction आ गया. Next.
Items.
So see, whenever David is hitting next, the items are appearing as though it is a nice PowerPoint animation, right? But although when we are compiling the PDF, we see that there were 4 slides created instead of just one for all these items. So go back again and come forward again, and you will see that it appears as a nice little animation, right? Right? Okay, fine, thank you. So this is how you do nice animations. There are more advanced ways to do animation, but this is a very, very beginner kind of a thing. And this is basically, most of us, we still use it. In technical presentations, we do not use so much designs and stuff. It looks good this way only. Okay, so go back to your overleaf. Okay, so referencing you have already learned. David, do you remember how to use references? So, okay, I have one thing that I had left to, okay, so we'll not get into that because it is reference यहाँ पे डालना और बिब लेटेक यूज करके जनरल लेटेक डॉक्यूमेंट में डालना दोनों सेम प्रोसेस है. बस यहाँ पे आपको क्या करना है कि अगर आपको टेबल ऑफ सॉरी लिस्ट ऑफ रेफरेंसेस आपको जनरेट करना है तो यू हैव टू क्रिएट अ न्यू स्लाइड बाय यूजिंग बिगिन फ्रेम एंड एंड फ्रेम एंड इनसाइड ऑफ दैट just like in a normal LaTeX document, you have to write print bibliography and आपका reference will be generated. So don't need to write that down now, David, because we have not created a bibliography file. We have not included the bib LaTeX package and everything. If we try to do this now, we are going to get several errors, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So one more thing that was left to do was to show you how to use multi-column environments, right? तो कभी-कभी ऐसा होता है कि आपके पास एक स्लाइड है तो उसमें आपको लेफ्ट पे एक फिगर चाहिए होता है, राइट पे एक फिगर चाहिए होता है, या फिर मान लीजिए आप कुछ एक प्रोज एंड कॉन्स वाला टेबल बना रहे हो, आपको लेफ्ट में एक प्रोज वाला कॉलम चाहिए, राइट में एक कॉन्स वाला कॉलम चाहिए. ऑफ कोर्स ग्रांटेड table type का चीज होता है, you can create a table environment just like it was taught in the last class, but inside of Beamer what we can do is that we can use multiple columns. I don't know if it was taught in the normal article class, but the same process works here. So let us try and go. So do that. So David, go back to the preamble of the document and include a new package called multi-col. So go back to the top, write use package after document class, yeah, anywhere, write use package. And then inside of curly braces, you write multi-col, multicol.
Is it open through?
Yeah, multicol, multi-col. So what this multi-col package tells LaTeX is that it tells you that we are going to use multiple columns. So had this been a wider slide, we could have used any number of columns that we like. But for the time being, we will just demonstrate how to use 2 columns, right? So go and create a new frame at the end, David.
Is it open through?
Sorry, I didn't notice what you do. No, create a new frame. Begin frame, end frame करो.
Or means after multi-call.
No. At the end, create a new frame.
Okay, well, that's what
एक नया slide create करो, एक नया frame create करो.
what should write? in the frame
So
title?
you write multiple columns. Okay, so now what we are going to do is that just compile and let us see the blank slide first. Yeah, go to the very bottom. Okay, so we have a blank slide. So what the idea is that इस slide को हमें दो parts करना है. Left में एक part होगा, right में एक part होगा. Left part में मैं कुछ भी लिख सकता हूँ, कोई भी image डाल सकता हूँ. Right part में भी मैं वो कर सकता हूँ. कैसे करते हैं? So let us go and create columns inside of this slide, right? So what I will do is that I will start by writing \begin columns, COLUMNS. Begin. So, David, whenever you're writing begin and use package, you have to put a curly bracket and only then you can specify, right? So वो तब से आप नहीं दे रहे थे, but overleaf was helping you enter दबा देने से खुद ब्रैकेट के साथ आ जा रहा था. But क्योंकि ये थोड़ा नॉन स्टैंडर्ड टाइप का कमांड है तो ओवरलीफ आपके लिए कमांड कंप्लीट नहीं कर पा रहा है. सो यू हैव टू लर्न द सिंटैक्स प्रॉपर्ली. द सिंटैक्स इज दैट यू हैव टू राइट \कमांड, उसके बाद ब्रैकेट डाल के जो भी कुछ लिखना है वहां पे लिखते हैं. Right, so put a \, and then you write columns, COLUMNS.
So should I put curly bracket or not?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. आपको ब्रैकेट हमेशा डालना है after writing begin. COLUMNS. यहाँ पे \, नहीं डालना है बेटा. COLUMNS. ओके, हिट एंटर. अभी एंड कॉलम्स खुद आ जाएगा. ओके, सो ये पहला कमांड है बिगिन कॉलम्स एंड कॉलम्स. ये लेटेक को बता रहा है कि ठीक है अभी हम लोग नए नए कॉलम्स क्रिएट करेंगे, राइट? और इसमें और एक हम लोग मॉडिफाई कर सकते हैं. यू कैन गो टू दी कॉलम्स, पहले बिगिन कॉलम्स के बाद एक बार क्लिक करो और उसमें स्क्वायर ब्रैकेट्स के अंदर टी लिखो. टी फॉर टॉम एंड जेरी. टॉम, कैपिटल टी. Yeah, so if you remember the discussion from the images and tables wala section, so whenever we put square bracket and we write H, T, P, B, this kind of stuff, so this tells LaTeX the alignment. So here we are saying that okay, this will be top aligned columns, right? So begin columns, end columns तो हो गया. अभी दो कॉलम एक्स्ट्रा करके क्रिएट करने हैं. उसके लिए मुझे लिखना है दोबारा से \begin column. इस बार कॉलम्स नहीं, बस कॉलम लिखना है, सिंगुलर. \begin. Yeah, hit enter. Just hit enter. Yes. Yeah, and then write column, COLUMN. Enter. एंड कॉलम भी डालना है आपको. एक नया लाइन ऐड करो, उसके बाद एंड कॉलम लिखो, COLUMN. \end column, COLUMN. एंड कॉलम लिखना है डेविड. \end column. बिगिन कॉलम लिखा है ना आपने, वो एनवायरनमेंट आपने शुरू किया तो यू हैव टू क्लोज दैट एनवायरनमेंट एज वेल. ब्रैकेट डालो एंड कर्ली ब्रैकेट के अंदर कॉलम.
I think it is appearing in the download.
या फाइन. सो अभी ये जो पहला बिगिन कॉलम है, कॉलम्स नहीं सिंगुलर वाला जो कॉलम है, उसमें हम लोग ये स्पेसिफाई करेंगे कि ये कॉलम कितना बड़ा होना चाहिए, राइट? सो लेट अस ट्राई टू डिवाइड दिस स्लाइड इनटू 2 इक्वल हाफ्स. सो 2 इक्वल हाफ्स करने के लिए व्हाट आई विल डू इज दैट ये बिगिन कॉलम नया लाइन नहीं जाना है, तो बिगिन कॉलम के एंड में जाना है, दोबारा से कर्ली ब्रैकेट देना है और वहां पे मुझे लिखना है 0.5. गो देयर डेविड, बिगिन कॉलम के एंड में जाओ.
कर्ली ब्रैकेट.
हाँ, कर्ली ब्रैकेट डालना है, उसमें लिखना है 0.5 \line width.
लाइन विड्थ.
यस, एंटर कर दो, आ गया. फाइन. सो अभी जो ये हो गया, सो इट इज टेलिंग मी दैट एक नया कॉलम बनेगा जो होगा हाफ ऑफ द पेज होगा. सो नाउ व्हाट यू डू डेविड इज दैट ये बिगिन कॉलम लाइन विड्थ वाला पूरा और एंड कॉलम तक कॉपी करो. ये पूरा कॉपी कर लो. नहीं नहीं, ऊपर का नहीं, बिगिन कॉलम 0.5 से नीचे एन कॉलम तक.
यहाँ तक.
नहीं नहीं बेटा, बिगिन कॉलम से आप कर्सर वहां पे क्लिक करो, फिर उसको ड्रैग करके एंड कॉलम तक लाओ.
What is it?
कंट्रोल जेड दबाओ, कंट्रोल जेड दबाओ.
Control Z.
हाँ ठीक है, अभी एन कॉलम से पहले एक बार एंटर मारो. हाँ अभी वो तुम्हारा पॉइंटर जहाँ पे है उसको बिगिन कॉलम पे ले जाओ, उससे क्लिक करके एन कॉलम तक लाओ. क्लिक एंड ड्रैग, इट विल बी सिलेक्टेड. नीचे चले जाओ ना सीधा क्लिक करके. यस फाइन फाइन. अभी इसको कंट्रोल सी यानी कि कॉपी करो.
Yeah, exam.
हाँ ये नीचे वाले लाइन में क्लिक करो अभी, एंड कॉलम्स के ऊपर, एंड कॉलम के नीचे नहीं. ओके एक बार बैक स्पेस दबाओ. हाँ अच्छा खैर ठीक है. अभी ये जो पहला बिगिन कॉलम एंड कॉलम के अंदर जो गैप है, तो इसमें हम लोग पहले कॉलम में जो भी डालना है वो डाल सकते हैं, राइट. वी कैन राइट समथिंग, वी कैन पुट ए फोटो, वी कैन पुट एन इमेज, वी कैन डू एनीथिंग. तो कुछ भी लिखो उसमें, पहले वाले गैप के अंदर कुछ भी लिखो.
Yeah.
लाइन नंबर 40 कुछ भी लिखो उसमें, हेलो लिखो, हेलो लिख दो. ओके और लाइन नंबर 43 में उसमें कुछ लिख दो, वर्ल्ड लिख दो, WORLD. Okay, so compile now. So now you see, we have divided this slide into two columns, and this is how you insert multiple columns inside of a LaTeX slide, right? So I was thinking we could learn some more additional things during this hands-on session, but we are reaching the end of time, and our chairperson and convener of this workshop, respected F3 Madam, has some important engagement as well, and officially we are reaching the end of the time as well, and we have to conclude this workshop as well. So I hope that I have given you at least an introductory idea. I hope you can start working with your LaTeX presentations from now on. So if any one of you needs this text file, I mean the source code that I was using to generate this presentation that I showed you today, I can simply drop it in your WhatsApp group. I can make a file and I can drop it in your WhatsApp group. You can upload that file to Overleaf and you will get whatever I was working on. And additionally, if you have any doubts, just feel free to write an email to me. I will provide my email inside of the WhatsApp chat box as well. And hopefully, if I can, I mean, probably I should, I will give you some PDF handouts or some PDF notes on how to create beautiful looking presentations with Beamer. So hopefully, if you have understood whatever I was to give an idea of today, you can look at this PDF notes that I will share in the WhatsApp group, and then you can start making beautiful presentations using Beamer. And in addition to that, if you have any doubts, you can reach me via email anytime. So once again, I thank you all for having the patience of listening to me over the past almost 2 hours now. And I thank Three-Man, HOD sir, and all of the teachers and the amazing resource persons that we have had over the past 7 days. And hopefully you have had a good session. Hopefully we have been able to help you out. So yeah, thank you very much. With this, I would like to conclude today's session. And Gulasha, in case you're online and I'm audible, I'd like to hand this over to you for the valedictory or the concluding section of this 7-day workshop. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great night.
Antonda.
Yeah.
Hello. How to save this coding? Means this what I have typed means this one. How to save this?
So this is already saved. This is already saved in your Overleaf account. So whenever you log in, you'll always find this.
Okay. Thank you, Antonda.
Yeah. So you are in our department itself. We are always available to you. Anytime you have a doubt, you can reach me in case we are not gone home yet. So yeah, once again, thank you guys, everyone. Gulabsha, I'm handing this over to you now. Thanks. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much, Anshuman. And David, yes, if you are talking about saving the PDF document, then you can find the downloading option, symbol there above the PDF file. Okay, there is a download symbol. You can download it from there. Yeah. Okay. So let us thank Anshuman for such a nice tutorial session. That was very composed and easy looking tutorial session. Even I could learn many tricks and new commands from your session. I hope our participants could get most benefit out of it. So with this, let us thank our speaker once again. And I would now request the coordinator of our workshop, Professor Otri Deshamukko, to say a few words. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, Gulab sir. So ultimately, we have completed this 7 days. Sorry, I was not audible, right, Gulab sir?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay. So what I'm saying that we have completed this 7 days project. I was expecting a bit more interaction from participants. I'm not very sure what they were expecting and why there was a decline in the population in later days. That possibly will come out when we get feedback from their side. But overall, I was also attending almost all your classes. So I'm happy about whatever we wanted to deliver, we have delivered. Obviously, whenever somebody uses something, then and only then he or she gets a complete control over the thing, not before that. Theoretically knowing something, hands-on sessions were there. But yeah, of course, somebody listening to LaTeX for the first time and doing it, they may not be very comfortable in the hands-on session. But after all, it depends upon the willingness from the part of the participant. So that we cannot control actually. I was very surprised because we have got last minute registrations and we have got 62 applications, but hardly the attendance has gone beyond 50. So this is very strange. Otherwise, we would like to listen from the participants what they were expecting from us and where we have seems to have failed to keep up to their expectation. So that is what one I would like to request. And yeah, I would like to thank my research students because they have taken that much of pain, that much of preparation and time they have dedicated for this workshop. And I hope it will be beneficial for the students. And yeah, so if anyone wants to speak out anything, the participants would like to hear from them. And the tutors, they can, if they have something to say, they can also share in this platform. And after that, we can wind up for the day. And all the videos of recordings of all the sessions are uploaded already. I would like to request all the participants to please subscribe our departmental channel. And not only this, you will get many other things there. So that is one request. And I hope you will practice and you use this platform to compile your documents. So that's all from my side. Gulab sir, over to Gulab sir. You can invite people for feedback if you wish, and then we can stop. And we'll be checking the attendance sheet, and your certificate will be generated after we receive feedback from your side, and then it will be posted to you. That will be, as already you have told, there are criteria for receiving certificates, and we will be sending it over mail. So this much. Over to Gulab sir. Gulab sir, please.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. So I'd like to invite any of the participants if you want to share anything. Please feel free to speak out. Okay, I guess we do not have anyone to.
So Deepankar was very curious about LaTeX all this while. So he has been my roommate for the past several years. I mean, he left the university in 21, and he would always keep on asking me, "What is this that you're always doing? Why is it that you not use MS Word? Are you like over to it, something like that?" But then he got his interest, and I'm glad to see that he and some of his colleagues have been attending this workshop from JBIT Group of Institutions in Dehradun. So I think if none of you are saying anything, I would like to hear something from Dipankar if this has been helpful for you, if you've learned something, and what are your future expectations and whatnot.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Dipankar Datta. Actually, I am a alumni of this beautiful university, that is Assam University, Silchar. Me and Anshumanda were roommate for more than 3 years. As Anshumanda already said, latex I have not used till now, but after this workshop, I have done a beautiful paper presentation and paper writing. Already, I have write two or three more pages in latex. So once again, thank you to my ex-roommate Angshuman Barua and Professor Autry Deshmukh ma'am and Gulab Sadi for this nice and beautiful hand-on session. It helps me a lot, me and my colleagues from JBIT Group of Institution Dehradun. Many colleagues hopefully attended the first and second sessions, and due to some neck preparations and all, they have not attended, but hopefully they will see all the recording sessions in later on. But for me it was a nice and beautiful 7 days workshop. Thank you for this. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Dipankar. It's so good to know, you have prepared a document, you could follow us. That is actually that makes us tutors very happy that we could reach.
Though I am not from this physics background, I am from management, but
yeah,
it
that is
helps
what
me
makes
a lot.
it more special. So
Yeah,
thank you for
thank you.
being with us. Yeah. Any more participants? Okay, if not, then as ma'am has said, your certificates will be distributed to you over email. And ma'am, do we have our HOD sir with us? Sir, would you like to?
Yeah. Formally, we can announce that our workshop, 7 days workshop, was successful and participants benefited from the lectures given by the experts. It was a very wonderful basics, and participants learned all the things. So, from my side, I thanks the coordinator and experts who has given wonderful lectures during the 7 days workshop. And Gulabsa also, you are very good anchor this time. All the experts have done their job wonderfully. So I hope you can conclude the session.
Thank you so much, sir, for the appreciation. And I would like to especially thank you and our coordinator, ma'am, for giving us this opportunity. It was a nice experience for us all. And also thanks to all the tutors for taking time out of their busy schedule. And yeah, thanks to all the participants for being with us. So hope to see you soon in future also for some other workshop. So till then, take care and see you all. Have a good night.